Hello again and welcome to this training. In this training we will go through the store locator so that you can manage your own stores. As you can see, I have created a couple of stores here right now. We have Malmö Stockholm, Malmö Gothenburg and London. And if I go to the front end, as you can see here, I have a weird development URL here. In this case, or in your case, this might be coca-cola.com, but in my case it's this. In the upper header we have a link here to the store locator, which takes me to this URL. So it will append /store locator. And actually it's enough to just go to this URL and I can still access the store locator. And here we can see our 3 stores that we have. I can of course search by country. So if I start with United Kingdom, I should only see 1 store. And this is the one. And if I search for Sweden, I should see 2 stores. And if I search for Stockholm, I should only see our headquarters, which is this one. And yeah, I can click here, I can see the street view, I can get directions. I can also click here to go into the detailed pages of this store. So if I click here on Malmö Stockholm, this will open up a new tab or a new window, and this is the URL of this store. So again, in your case, this might be coca-cola.com and then /Malmö Stockholm. So this is the URL key of the actual store. If we go back to store locator, manage store, and instead of creating a new store, we will simply look at what we have here. So I will edit this store. And here we see the name of the store. We see that it's enabled. Here we have a link to the store. So since I have HTTP, and if I go back to the front end, we see now that we have this link over here. If I would only type it like this, let's see what happens if I save it, but I will actually save and continue edit. I might need to refresh my cache, so I will go to to System, Cache Management, and flush my Magento cache. We can see now that this is an internal link. So it says malmo.com, but if I click here, what will happen is that it will simply add this to my current domain. So this is not what we want in this case. So if you want to link to another URL, to another domain, make sure to include HTTP in the beginning. We have a phone number, an email address. The URL key is, or the URL key can be left empty, like this, and then it will take the store name and auto-generate the URL key. So when you're creating a new store, simply leave the URL key field empty, unless you want to have a specific URL key that is not the same as the store name. If I go back to the front end, we can see here that we have the phone here and we have the email address here. If I go to Google Map location, this is where we enter our address details. Usually what I do, let's change this to my home address. So I will actually scroll down here and I will search for Lovisa Lundsvägen 9, and I know it's here, so I need to click on the map, and then I get this pin and I can then apply this to my form. This will then update all of the above fields here. So I have here the correct address, For some reason it did not include my zip code, so I will add it manually. 16889. Actually, I don't know what this one. Let's say that it's 11623. I tend to remove this part from the address field. One example is, as we can see here, we have Roselundsgatan 40, but if I click apply to the form button, again, so if I click this button, it will add this section to the address field as well, and it will then look like this, like in Gothenburg. So usually I would just remove this and then enter my zip code, and that's it. So if I now save my store, now I might need to clear my cache again. So let's go back to cache management. We can now see that the new address is here, and it's not the one in the central Stockholm anymore. All right, so these are the basic settings that you need to have when creating a new store. You can of course also upload images. There is a limitation of how many images you can upload, and that is a setting in Store Locator settings. So if we go in here, we have this image gallery setting limited to 2, but this can of course be increased or decreased. Whenever you upload a new image, like let's say that I take the London office, make sure to hover the image and select the base icon. So click make base, and this will then show this picture on the front end. All right, so now let's look into the opening hours, special days, and the holidays. So this section. If I go to the store's schedule tab, we see here in this drop down that I currently have office hours, and this is because I have created this. If I click here, as we can see here, or if I go to Store Locator and manage schedule, we can then add a new schedule. In this case, I will edit the existing one. And what we do here is that we enter the schedule name. Then we start with Monday, for example, and we say if it's open or closed. And then we have our open time, when we go on break, when the break is finished, and when we close. Then if we want to apply this to all of the remaining days, we can then click apply to all. So Tuesday to Sunday will then have the same dates or the same hours. So if I click to apply to all, we see now that all of these days have the same times. But since we are closed on Saturdays and Sundays, I will then simply change this for these 2 days. And I can then save my schedule, and we can then either go to stores of schedule, and we can assign this schedule to all of the existing stores that we have in this list. Let's say that we want to assign this schedule to Gothenburg as well. I will then change this drop down to any, and then I will hit enter and search. And here we see that we have Gothenburg, and I will assign this to Gothenburg. Another way is, of course, by going back to the store that we have created or that we are creating, and then select the store in question. And then in the Store Schedules tab, we can then select our schedule here. The same applies to holidays and special days. So as we can see here, in holidays we have Christmas 2016. If I go to this one, if I click edit, or if I go to Store Locator and manage holiday, And let's edit this one. We can see here that we have a name. This name will appear on the front end. That is what we see here. And then we have the start date, end date, and if I go to stores of holiday, we can assign this to one or several stores, like we did with the schedules. The same goes for special days. So as you can see here in this tab, we have a special day, and that's Black Friday. And this is the 25th of November. And this is what we have here. So again, in Store Locator, Manage Special Day, we have this one. So this starts this day, it ends the same day, it opens at this time, and it closes at this time. And then we can, of course, assign this to these stores. If your holidays and special days, if they do not appear on the front end, that might be because if you go to Store Locator settings, you have this setting over here. Display holidays and special days in the next, I have chosen 365 days. So if I enter a holiday for 2017 and today is the 8th of January 2016, those holidays will not show. And that's it. This is how a store looks on the front end, and now you know how to manage your stores in the admin. Thank you for watching, and see you soon again.